Hey everyone, so today was exactly 2 weeks from our biopsy of our embryos. So if you're just coming across this video and are not sure of our story, feel free to go back and watch some of my previous videos on why we're doing IVF and PGD. So we had 13 embryos make it to day 5 and 6 biopsy, and that was 2 weeks ago. Like I said, 2 weeks ago that our lab received the samples. So I just got the call this morning. I know lots of you are anxiously waiting, like we were, so I wanted to share with you. So we have 4 healthy embryos, which we're happy about. I was, not really sure what to expect. We were told to be happy with a couple. So in that respect, it's good. I was kind of hoping for 5, but 4 is still really good. So I will say that we're happy with that number, because we know it could definitely be worse. We could have had none or just 1. So 4 healthy embryos. Now, the healthy ones that we have are actually all carriers. So although we have 4, they are carriers, but what that means is they have 1 copy of the gene, like Dave or myself. So they're not affected. They can live a normal life. They just will know that they are a carrier of the condition that we carry, which is short rib polydactyly type 3. So the chances of them ever meeting somebody that has the gene as well is very, very slim. This is a very rare condition, and there's less than 200 recorded cases in the world. So, the chances of them meeting somebody else with the condition, we're not too worried about the fact that these babies will be carriers. So we have 4, they're all carriers, but they're healthy and they have normal chromosomes. Now, you're probably wondering, what happened with the rest of them, because we started with 13 and we only have 4 healthy, which, like I said, we're happy with. So 3 of those were affected with short rib polydactyly and had normal chromosomes. So that would be like our babies, Liam, Nate, and Bria. They were all affected with short rib polydactyly, so they had 2 copies of the gene, but they had normal chromosomes. So we had 3 out of 13 that had short rib. I was expecting that number to be significantly higher. Like I was preparing myself for like 75% being affected, but with that 3, we're right around the 25% mark, which is what it should be. It's really interesting to me, when I think about out of 13, we had 3 that had short rib. How in the world did we have 3 affected babies in a row? It just seems really crazy to me that we kept hitting those odds when we ended up getting so many. So that leaves us with 4 healthy carriers, but healthy, and 3 that were affected with short rib polydactyly but had normal chromosomes. There was 1 embryo that came back inconclusive, so they were not able to determine whether the baby has short rib or chromosome problems. So we'll keep that one for now frozen with our 4 others, just in case it comes down to it. We potentially could thaw that embryo, rebiopsy it, and try to test again. It's not ideal, and they don't really like to do that, but if it came down to that embryo and us needing to test it again, then that would be an option potentially. So the other ones is we had 3 that were carriers, so like our healthy ones, and but the problem is that they all had a chromosome problem. So the 3 carriers had chromosome problems. We had 1 with a complex abnormality, which means multiple chromosome problems. We had 1 with a mono 8 and 21, so that means it only had 1 chromosome on chromosome 8 and 1 on 21. And then the third one had mono 16, which means only 1 chromosome on 16. So those 3 had chromosome problems. And then Our last two were actually unaffected, so they were not even carriers. They had both mine and Dave's good gene. However, both of those were did have a chromosome problem. So one had a complex chromosome, so multiple issues, and the other had mono 22, so was missing a chromosome on 22. So that equals our 13. Now, I will say I'm actually quite surprised that we had 5 come back with chromosome problems, but what I feel grateful for is as upset and mad as I was that our fresh cycle was canceled. If we hadn't had it canceled, those likely would have been the 2 that we transferred, would have been the 2 unaffected non-carrier, because they would have come back as being not affected with short rib. They probably would have been the 2 that were transferred, and I would have just miscarried them because they both had a chromosome problem. So we potentially, you know, because we ended up testing chromosomes, we were able to avoid basically having potentially 5 earlier miscarriages. Now, all of the chromosome problems we had were probably, ones that would make you miscarry very early on because they were more severe. They weren't, like Down syndrome or something like that, the pregnancy could continue on its own. These would probably have resulted in a miscarriage at, 5 or 6 weeks. So with that being said, I guess it's a good thing that we tested chromosomes because 5 of them had chromosome problems, whereas only 3 of them were affected with short rib polydactyly. But what really matters in the scheme of it is that we have 4 healthy embryos waiting for us. So we have 4 little babies just waiting to, grow hopefully, and not to say we want 4, but they also, each of the 4 only have, well, in a normal frozen cycle, they have about a 50% chance of resulting in pregnancy. Because our embryos are tested both with chromosomes and the gene, our pregnancy rate would be higher than that, because you're eliminating that a very large percent that would happen or that you would miscarry from chromosome problems. So we're hopeful that we'll have at least 2 of our 4 healthy ones make it, survive the thaw, implant, and result in healthy babies, and it gives us a bit of a buffer. So yeah, we are relieved that we don't have to keep waiting for these results. You're probably wondering what the next step is. So my clinic makes you wait for 2 full months, 2 full cycles actually, before doing a frozen transfer. So we're looking probably at the 1st or 2nd week of February when we can do a frozen cycle. So it's about 2 months still, which is kind of frustrating. Knowing they're there, we have 4 healthy embryos, and I'm feeling quite a bit better, and so now we have to wait, but there's nothing we can do about it. And I guess it's best to let my body heal as much as possible and do it the way they're saying, since they were kind of right about everything else with canceling the fresh. Just really relieved that with the amount of chromosome problems that came back, that we did test for them, because we would have probably, had put ourselves, gotten excited that we had so many not affected with short rib and then ended up losing them to a chromosome problem. And this just eliminates that possibility altogether, which gives us a lot more peace of mind for sure, than had we not tested chromosomes. So yeah, we're looking at February probably when the transfer will be. I've had a lot of people asking if we'll transfer 1 or 2. With the fresh, we had planned on transferring 2, but with the frozen, they prefer to only do 1, especially because our embryos are tested and have a higher pregnancy rate. However, my situation is a lot different than most people. Number one, we're not doing IVF for fertility problems. I don't have trouble getting pregnant or carrying a baby. We're doing it because of the genes, and we needed the testing. And the second reason it's different is because after I had Bria, I ended up with placenta increta, And I have an increased risk of that happening in any other pregnancies. And having that risk is quite scary, because if I do have a CRETA or INCRETA again in this next pregnancy, there's a very good chance that I would end up with a hysterectomy and losing my uterus. So if that happens, we need to talk with our doctors. The doctor in Calgary only wants to transfer one, but I want to check with my OBGYNs and high risk doctors about what's going to be best if I do get a CRETA again, because if I get it again and lose my uterus and I only have one, then I guess mom wants to be in my video. If I only have one baby, would we be wishing that we transferred two if I ended up with a hysterectomy, right? But is transferring two at this point too risky, because does that double our chance of having, double my chance of getting a CRETA, because you have two placentas, they're implanting in two different places? Will that double my chance? So there's a lot to think about in regards to that, but ultimately it's not up to us. I guess it's up to what our doctors kind of recommend for us. So I want to check and get some different opinions on what to do. If only we knew it would be a healthy pregnancy and I'd have no CRETA, it wouldn't be an issue. Then I would be fine with one, because I know that we have 3 others waiting. But you know, I'm a little afraid of what happens if I do get a CRETA and end up with a hysterectomy, since about 80% of a CRETA cases do end in hysterectomy. So what else? I think that's about it. For anybody who is familiar with grading systems of embryos and stuff like that, I'll just kind of let you know quickly. It looks like we have 2 of our 4 embryos are 5 double A's, which is the best quality that you can get. So that's great. 1 is a 5BB, which is still really good and can also easily result in a healthy baby. And then 1 is a 3BA. Oh, hi. A 3BA. Come here. Oh, someone wants to come say hi. So it's not quite as good of quality as the other ones, but can still definitely, because it's a tested embryo, result in a healthy baby. So yeah, what do you think? I don't know if you want 4 brothers and sisters. So I just want to thank you all so much for being supportive over the last few weeks, well, months and years really. It's been a long 2 weeks waiting and just this long process to get here, but now we know we have 4, so even though we have 2 months to wait, it's going to not be as bad, because we know we have a good chance of actually leaving with a baby this time, as opposed to all of our other pregnancies when it was just, a lot of waiting and stress to find out if the babies were affected, and of course they always were. With PGD, you do still have to have a CVS, so we will still be having a CVS at 12 weeks, 10 to 12, 11 to 13 weeks or something. So we'll have to go to Calgary for a CVS just to confirm, because unfortunately PGD is still not 100% and there is still an error rate. So God, let's hope that doesn't happen. But I will be having that test done probably around 12 weeks, just to confirm that the testing of the embryos was correct, if it results in pregnancy, of course. So yeah, I will keep you updated. I probably I'll hop back on and do another video when we have a better idea of when the frozen transfer is coming up, and talk a little bit about the process of how that all works. But for now, we just have a couple months to get through with Christmas, and then it'll be my birthday. We're thinking of going to Vegas, so we're hoping that those things will kind of speed the next couple months up a little bit, and I'm sure it will come quickly. It always does. So thanks so much. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll answer. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. And thanks again for watching. Bye, guys.